Hey everyone, I'm Chris here at Kodo Kids, and I wanted to introduce you to the mobile magnet wall. I know you all received this and some accessories, so I'm just going to take you through those parts and pieces and show you what you have and what the magnet wall is all about and how do you use it in your space. So first you got the mobile magnet wall in general. So this is an HDPE frame. It's a weatherproof frame made of HDPE, which is boat board. They make boats out of it. So highly weatherproof, weather resistant. And it comes with these side pieces. So we call these the wormholes or the transporters because the kids use them in all sorts of really great ways. So these just go on. They're made of PVC parts, obviously, and you can put them on in any of these holes along the sides. So we've put them here just in a couple different random places where we kind of like to shoot balls through them. So you can imagine you put the ball in here and it'll pop out the bottom. And then with that, you get the fundamentals pack of ramps. So it has one 3-foot long, one 2-foot, and two 1-foot ramps, along with 4 walls and 6 rings and 4 cups, and then a whole variety of different wood balls. I think there's 30 wood balls in total. And included with that are 2 regular ramps without magnets, which I'll show you how to use in a minute. With that, you also got the wiffle ball pack, which comes with 10 of the large wiffle balls and 10 of the small wiffle balls. And the gear pack. So the gears are wood, so they're not waterproof, so we don't want to leave them outside. But they're great to use in a variety of different ways. I'll talk a little bit more about that. So that's everything you got with the magnet wall. So let's talk about each part and piece. First, we're going to talk about how do you introduce these parts and pieces to the children. And it comes with a lot of parts. So every magnet wall comes with just a ton of parts. Actually, you got an extra ramp set, I believe, as well. So you have not just one 3-foot, but you have 2 of these, 2 of these, 4 of these, and 2 of each of these. So you have a lot of ramps. And so what we don't want to do right now, when you first open up the box, and all the kids are going to be really excited, we do encourage you to open up the box and unbox this product with your kiddos because they love to see what's in the box. But even if you don't, when you first introduce them or when a new child comes, it's really important to scaffold the learning. So what I mean by that is you want to slowly introduce them to the parts and the pieces so they understand what the part is and how it functions and what are the possibilities. And we really want to take a mindset of a child here and not our adult mindset across the board when we're talking about this and we're thinking about how to introduce it to our kids. We want to think about the kids don't know anything about what these parts and pieces are for, or even the physics that happen with the ramps, with the parts and pieces. So we're going to take all these off. I'm just going to show you how we normally introduce the magnet wall to our kids. A new classroom of kids or a new set of kids, wherever you are. So at the beginning, we'll just take one ramp and maybe a set of some balls. One empty, we'll put it up. One empty goal for the balls to go to. And then maybe one with some balls. Just a side note about the balls, you got some 2-inch balls, some 1 3/4 inch balls, and some 1.5-inch balls, the smallest. Here they are. So you have 3 sizes of balls. I want you to be careful with the smaller of the 2 balls are actually choking hazards, so we don't want to give those to children under 3 and under. So we can swap out the 2-inch balls for the smaller ones if need be. But so we'll just give them this set of materials and we'll let them explore. You know, we don't even tell them how to put the ramp up. They're kids and they're super inventive and they're just going to come over and, oh, whoa, look at that. Okay, what do I do with that? And I'm going to try to move it. Oh, and they'll end up pulling it off. And through experimentation, they're going to find that, oh, they can slide it, which is a super important aspect of the magnet wall in general, is the small little tweaks and that you can do to really fine-tune the system of ramps that you're going to build as a child. And they're give them a ball and oh, they're going to make the goal, or they're not. And if they don't, that's great. I've been doing this a long time, so I keep making it, but oh, that didn't happen. Oh no, what just happened? Such a problem. As adults, we can see that, oh, well, you just need to move this out here, or you need to tip the ramp a little less. But we want the children to experiment and find those solutions for themselves. And that's the beauty of the magnet wall, is it allows the children to run into all these problems and these difficulties, and then move it just a little bit up or down, or move this over and over, just to fine tune that system so that they can eventually see that, oh, it didn't make it. What do I need to do? I need to move it over. Okay, now, well, it made it. Yay, celebrations. And there's a lot of celebrations that happen on this wall. So that's how we introduce it, just very simply, until they kind of understand what's happening here with the physics around it, you know, how the ramp attaches to the wall. And then we can start to provide some other pieces, especially if we see them. You'll notice they'll try it, they understand it, they need more, they need to move on. So we'll provide them with more ramps, okay? Well, let's give them a couple different ramps. And usually we just hand the ramps to the children. We don't put them up there for them, because as adults, we don't want to create the system for them. We want the children to come, grab the ramps, and create the system for themselves, so that they start to understand the physics around it all. So they might create something like this, and we're going to roll it down. Oh, it made it. Again, I've played with this a lot, so I'm pretty good at it. But we want them to have failures. So maybe they set it up like this. And what's going to happen? No! Wow, I wonder what happened there. Why did the ball fall right off? Open-ended questions like that, wondering with the children, is super important. Not, hey, why don't you tip this? Then that'll work, because the ball fell off the back. Just tip it and it'll solve your problem. No, we want to say, I wonder what happened there. Did you see the failure point? What happened? Where's the problem? Oh, that's a weird ball. Oh, what happened? And the child will come over and you can say, I didn't see what happened. Can you show me what happened? And they'll say, oh, the ball rolled off. So was the problem right there? Yeah, I wonder what I could do, or what you could do to correct that. So the ball would end up in there. And maybe they'll go like this. Okay, let's try it. Let's find out. Oh, it still rolled off. I wonder what else we could do. The child might come over and move it, and we'll see. We'll just watch, and we'll wonder with the child. So it's super important to just bring up questions about what is happening, and then have them show you what is happening. So you can help them problem solve through the system and identify where that problem is and correct it. So coming from an engineering background, like that's what we do as professional engineers. We'll design something, a mechanical system, right? And then we'll think it's really great, and we'll take it out into the field. Like when we're testing toys, we'll design a product and we'll send it out to a preschool and we'll watch, and it'll break in some way. It's like, oh, there's a problem. We didn't even identify that problem until it happened, right? Now we're going to take that design back and we're going to pinpoint on that problem. We're going to solve that problem, that particular problem. But for us as professional engineers and designers, we have to identify that problem on our own, understand what that problem is, and then understand how to fix it. So we're doing that same thing for children. We're providing them the opportunity to come in, see the problem, identify where it is, understand what a solution could be, and then make that change. They make that change to find the solution. All right, so that's the fundamental how you and why you introduce the magnet wall to your children. So now we have all the different parts and pieces. And so these are all open-ended parts and pieces, in that they can be used in multiple different ways. And we design them very plain and basic so that they don't have a specific use. It's very important not to say, hey, this is used in this way. This is only used for this. Because the number of times that I think I know how this thing should be used, just the other day it happened. All these children, we design it and we're like, oh, well, it holds cups. It's a ring and it holds the cups. Yes, that is one use. That's great. And then children, I saw the other day, they did two different things that I saw. They went like that. And now they just wanted a hoop to shoot through. And then they ended up lining them all up. It was pretty amazing. And they shot through all of the rings down to a ramp. It was fantastic. And there were a ton of problems where they were misaligned and they wouldn't work, and they aligned them and it worked. It was amazing. And then the other day, this was a brand new one for me. They took 2 rings and they took a ramp and they just put it on top. Oh, I never thought of that. We've seen them do this, which is a great use for the rings and the ramps without magnets. But then they put it on top. Oh, mind blowing. It was great. Encourage them to explore that one further. So we have walls. Like to use them as deflectors to bounce the balls off of to the next ramp. Sometimes we use them as stops, as I was doing, I think, earlier, maybe not. But if the ramp is at a slight angle and the ball ends up coming in real fast, it can stop the ball. Use this for all sorts of different things. You could also use it as support. So these ramps have a single magnet, which acts as a pivot point. So you can twist it easily, but also if the balls are hitting, it'll end up pushing that. And that's actually one of those problems we kind of design into the product, so that now you can use your wall as a support. Another way to solve that is to put it there, right? Put it on your cup. So a lot of different ways to solve different problems. Talked about the rings, talked about the walls. The balls are you just need a variety of different balls. So any balls you have laying around your space, encourage you to use those. The more variety that you can provide the children in weight and size and density, the better, because then those all have different momentum. So the mass of the ball, and the velocity of the ball, how fast it's going, those create the momentum. And so a wood ball is going to travel much differently than a wiffle ball, right? So you have 2 different, they're going to come off the ramp and shoot in different trajectory, right? So the more variety there, the better. Now the big wiffle balls, you'll notice they ride on the rails, which provides a completely different movement for the children to explore. The small wiffle balls roll on the inside, and the big ones ride on the rails. And that actually ends up spinning the ball faster. And then so when it lands, it kind of takes off. Especially when it really gets going, it moves and takes off. So again, we'll use a lot of different balls to incorporate into this. And on that note, you can incorporate all sorts of different things on here. Paper, cellophane, you can cover this with a rubber band, this ring. Put rubber bands around it, now the balls come and bounce way off. So use all sorts of materials around your space and bring them in, and how do the children incorporate them into their play. The gears are, again, these are wood, so meant for not to be used with water, but this is just a different aspect, a different way to use the magnet wall. So gears in general are just really cool. Lack of words. But the movement that they create is about the system that is created with these gears. And you can move them up, and understanding how they interlock and how this motion, this big gear, one revolution of this big gear makes many, many revolutions of the little gear. So that was one revolution. That one went around 2.5 times. Understanding that dimension through the gears is really kind of a fundamental physics understanding. And so we can do all sorts of creative things with these. These actually have a little notch behind the handle. So we'll take big rubber bands or string and wrap it around. And now we're going to move this one. It's going to move that one with that string. So it's more of a different type of gears, like a belt system versus a gear system. We were just playing the other day. And again, you know, you give these things to the kids and you see the creative things that they do with them. We were playing with this, and then we had, I don't know if this ball is going to be too big. Oh, this is too big. a smaller ball, and it rolled right along the top of all the gears. It was pretty cool. We had this whole challenge of who could get it. Oh, but see, now these aren't working. What's going on? Why is this? And if you work on motors with gears, you know if the gears are too tight together, they bind up. And so that's what's happening right now. So we have to scoot them apart a little bit. And the children find this out just through play and experimentation. Oh, look how smooth that is now. Let's see. So that's the fundamental of each of these products. And we created the magnet wall from the idea of ramps. You know, we would go around to different preschools, children's museums, home centers, all over the place, and we'd see people and they have ramps, let's say, screwed to the wall or attached to their chain link fence, all screwed on or zip tied on. And while that was pretty neat, this whole system of ramps, it was the person who created that system of ramps that had all the fun and all the learning in how those ramps were adjusted. So maybe they had them attached to like this, right? And these were permanently attached to their fence. Now the children would come over and they'd do the ball down, and it would work beautifully because that's how it was designed. And that's great, and they'd do that 10 times, and then, well, there's nothing else to explore. So the idea of the magnet ball came about from that, saying how do we put that control and that experience in the hands of children instead of in the hands of the adult who designed the system? And so again, we want to encourage the exploration of the physics of the magnet wall. And how do we change this system to really fulfill the goal that they set forth, or just in general, just play with momentum and the balls and the physics of movement. So let's talk about the magnet wall itself and its frame. So the magnet wall, as I mentioned, is made out of HDPE. It has these heavy-duty casters which have a locking mechanism on the back 2 feet, so you can lock them in place. We want to keep it on pretty level ground because it will tip over at some point, you know, in its tippiness, but it's very stable as is right now, but we don't want to take it like up on a hill, let's say. We want a nice flat ground. What's great about the mobile version versus the wall mount magnet wall version is that we have, I'm going to run over some parts. You can use the whole backside as well. So this is all the same metal panel, we just don't have a ball catch back here, which allows for better access actually to the wall, and just different play in general. So you can use water with this as well, since it is the outdoor version. So you can imagine all the ramps on the back, and the water, instead of going into the ball catch, it's just pouring onto the ground. That's totally fine, right? So that's great. I want to talk a little bit about vocabulary and learning outcomes. So many children can play on this at the same time. I've seen like 10 kids on this magnet wall at one time, and it's chaos. It's a little crazy. So maybe 10 is too many, but 3 or 4 kids at a time is like the perfect number of children to be playing on this on both sides. So, you know, you could have 6 to 8. That's fine. And what you'll hear as they work through these problems is a whole lot of language, a whole lot of conversation happening, problem solving together. Even kids who don't get along normally, they'll come over here and they have this joint problem that they're trying to solve. Hey, we're trying to get the ball all the way over there to bounce off that wall and come all the way back over here to this cup. How do we do that? And they all come together to solve these problems. It is amazing to see the communication that happens between children and the vocabulary that comes out as they're playing. So they might say, whoa, it zoomed, it zoomed down the ramp. And you can say, yeah, that velocity was really high. And so you start to introduce some sophisticated vocabulary. And next time, instead of saying zoomy zoom, they might say the velocity of that ball was too high. It bounced out. And they'll know what they're talking about. And they'll start to communicate with that. So you can just throw in complex vocabulary words and they'll hear it. You don't even have to tell them speedy speed is actually, zoomy zoom is actually velocity. They'll just hear you say that. Whoa, I saw that velocity was really rapid. It's amazing how far that ball launched with such a high velocity of ball. and you kind of throw the word in there, and they hear you, and then they'll start to use that language in their play and with each other. And the collaboration that happens, the social emotional collaboration that happens, is amazing. One child could be having a really hard time, and another one will come in and have another idea, and they'll solve that problem together, and they'll support each other in finding the solutions to those problems. It is truly magical. It's magical to see the aha moments that kids have, and then it's magical to hear them working together to solve these problems that they end up having. So thank you so much. I think that concludes our video today. Please reach out with questions if you have specific needs, if you want another video made of how do you use this exactly, or what goes on here, or have just questions in general about the magnet wall, or challenges that you have implementing it, or questions that you have implementing it. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you really, really enjoy your outdoor mobile magnet wall.